people crying out for justice. Some of them crying out for freedom.
Want freedom.
Everybody crying out for democracy. Now it's time to take a stand.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair, for that wonderful and delightful introduction. Our eminent and esteemed political leader, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisessa, our deputy political leaders, members of parliament, senators, colleagues on the platform here this evening, our national executive members, UNC members gathered here at our headquarters, members of the media, together with so many of you who are locked on and locked on via our various social media platforms, I say a pleasant good evening to you all. Brothers and sisters, as I stand before you to address you at this virtual UNC Monday night platform, it is clear that this country is fast becoming a failed state, if we haven't already acquired that status. Just yesterday, I read in the newspaper the very informative, edifying, and enlightening article by one Mr. Ralph Maraj comparing countries which had gained independence from the Crown in or around the same time as we in Trinidad and Tobago did, in particular, Mauritius and Singapore. He writes, when you compare Trinidad and Tobago with some countries which gained independence in the 60s, we get a profound insight into the tragic mismanagement of this country. This article is entitled, Leaving Us Behind, and the PNM has left Trinidad and Tobago behind for many years by their misadministration. And when you look also at our neighbors, Barbados and Guyana, and the growth experienced by these countries over the years, you get a true appreciation of the mess created by the PNM administration, who shamelessly continues to blame COVID and to blame Kamla. And then you have their trolls saying, it's happening all over the world. Flooding, it's happening all over the world. When you talk about high prices of fuel, it's happening all over the world. When you talk about high crime, it's happening all over the world. And they are being paid a monthly salary, some of them of $30,000 to go and say it's happening all over the world. When you look at our infrastructure, recently the Minister of Works and Transport indicated that there isn't enough money to fix all the roads in Trinidad. When one sees the waste, the mismanagement, the corruption, and the lack of accountability and transparency that is pervading all aspects of this Rowley government, it angers me, and I am sure it also angers many of you out there. The feeling of dissatisfaction, of discontentment, and displeasure amongst the population is at an all-time high. That is why persons are resorting to protest and blocking of the major roads to highlight their pleas. And I can understand their frustration, given the fact that many are noticing the callous disregard for what we call basic amenities and necessities in this country. The only time that the PNM have solutions to fix this country is when they are in opposition or when they are begging to be re-elected. That time they have all the means to fix all the problems. But soon as they are in government, that is it. Problems galore. Things so bad under Keith Rowley government that we might have to change the words of our national anthem from forge from the love of liberty to forge from the love of dilapidation, from the fires of PNM destruction. Every 10 meters you drive is a new pothole on our roads. As a matter of fact, we don't have roads with potholes in between. We have potholes with pieces of roads in between. If you spit in tongue, it's flood. And if the rain just set up, the major waterways ready to burst their banks. And you know, the funny thing is that since 2010, Honorable Minister of Finance, Colin Elmbert, who is a civil engineer by profession, had the solution, you know. As I said, they have the solutions when they're in opposition, but nothing when in government. Way back in 2010, While criticizing then Minister of Works Jack Warner, Imbert says he knows how to stop floods. In an interview, he said, he knew that the country water courses could not deal with the volume of water from excessive rainfall. And he said, what you have to do, you have to trap the water in what is called retention ponds before the water gets to the population. And you have to do that all over the country in the densely populated area. Imbert said that. But mind you, Imbert was Minister of Works and Transport for at least 5 to 6 years prior to that statement, and asked him if one retention pond was built during that time. But to make matters worse, Mr. Imbert is in government 7 years now. And have you seen, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, have you seen any retention ponds built anywhere? Nothing. No. Imagine, in Imbert's own constituency, every Monday morning is flood in Marval. His solution does only work when he's in opposition, it looks like. And it begs the question, what have he done when he was Minister of Works and Transport under the Patrick Manning regime? Well, let me tell you, and it is important that we in the UNC remind the population, because it is our duty to so do, what was accomplished under his tenure as Minister of Works and Transport. And I'm reading from the article dated the 9th of May 2015, written by one Renuka Singh. It is entitled, Column Referred to the Integrity Commission. Column referred to the Integrity Commission. And when you have a read of this article, it says, Column Imbert, it is alleged, according to the article, Column Imbert used millions of dollars of state resources during his tenure as Minister of Works and Transport to divert the Marval River off his private lands in Mocha, Marval. This complaint to the Integrity Commission was brought by a businessman by the name of Emil Elias, who provided copies of letters dating back to 2000 when Imbert first purchased the Mocha Golf Course property. The project manager of Total Real Services Limited, retained privately by Imbert, wrote to the Ministry of Works and Transport Drainage Division requesting that the Marval River be diverted. The company also requested a speedy response to take advantage of the dry season. Now, the Ministry of Works and Transport responded and says the works were approved, but stipulated that the course must be done privately. Now, Total Real Services Limited was owned by Imbert in 2003, was struck off the company's register in 2005. In 2006, Imbert Construction Group Limited, utilizing the same registered address as the now then defunct Total Real Services Limited, again wrote to the Ministry of Planning, Town and Country Division. And the Town and Country had two concerns. The first concern is whether this property was allocated to a recreational open space. And the second concern they had is in terms of the discrepancy with the measurements in terms of the land in question. The Town and Country noted that Imbert's company scribed the land at 2.9 acres, but it was actually found to be 14.4 acres. That is not a discrepancy. That is not a discrepancy. So therefore, the Ministry of Works wrote another letter dated the 29th of September 2009 and directed to the Imbert company, Imbert Construction Group Limited, saying that they were satisfied with the work done and so forth. But why do I bring this to your attention, ladies and gentlemen? Why do I bring this to your attention? I bring this to your attention to indicate that Colm Imbert was Minister of Works and Transport during the entire, this entire episode. Have you, Minister Imbert, declared your interests? Have you ever declared your interests in respect of this drainage and this diversion of this Marval River? And we are being told by the experts that this is a major cause of flooding in the Marval area because of this diversion that happened in around 2008, 2009. And very soon, I will tell you about another diversion by another minister. But let me get to another issue in respect of, continuing issue in respect to flooding. In May 2020, at the start of the election season, the Honorable Minister of Works and Transport, Rohan Singhanan, said that he was aiming to solve the problem of flooding within 5 years. You all remember that? He said we will solve the problem of flooding in 5 years. Yes, you remember? He said we had a consultant on board, and they are going to do studies and make a comprehensive operational plan. Then, in April 2022, he said, 2 years later, he said, I am not God. He is not God. He cannot solve flooding. Well, with a name like Synanan, you expect to be God? Imagine under Synanan, the highways have potholes, which he says the government have no money to repair. But I ask the question, and I ask the question here tonight, have you awarded a contract to your family to construct the new highway in the middle of the forest in Komoto, destroying our natural habitat, the Aripo Savanna, which is an environmentally sensitive area? It appears that they are making a roadway through it and doing so illegally, as this area is protected by law. Now I ask you to look on the screen there. This is the area here. This is the forest, and there's a roadway being constructed, a highway being constructed over the forested area. And I ask, is this the Aripo Savanna that is being destroyed by Rohanson and the PNM for the Komoto Highway? I ask that question, and I also beg that all those environmental groups get involved and tell us whether this area is classified as an environmentally sensitive area. And talking about Komoto, just last week, a part of the roadway between San Rafael and Komoto collapsed, and it is impassable, but a new highway building in the bush. Last week as well, we had the Coralina village, followed by one in Korea village, in the area of MP Ratiram. This follows the collapse of the bridge along the Tasca Road, Princestown, and the list goes on and on, brothers and sisters, of the collapse, of the mismanagement, of the dilapidated state of our road infrastructure is in this country. Recently, at Leo Trace Talparo, an ambulance went to pick up someone who was sick, and they got stuck. Look at it. An ambulance carrying somebody who is sick under emergency conditions was stuck on the roadway. And then I had a delivery truck which was stuck along the Indian Trail. Now, I am reliably informed that this morning, Minister Foster Cummins, he visited the Indian Trail landslide, and we're grateful that somebody is paying attention to somebody from the government. But that road is the boundary between Carney Central and Couva South. What is the Minister of Youth Development and National Service doing in Indian Trail visiting this landslide? Please declare your interest. Does your interest have to do anything with the removal of dirt by PECAL services from the Indian Trail, Savannah? Does your interest there has to do anything with that? We don't know why you're there. Tell us. You remember a stop notice was given by the Couva Tabaki Talpa Regional Corporation in respect of PECAL services taking hundreds of loads of material from the Indian Trail, Savannah. So we ask you, what were you doing there? In this land of ours, the roads are crumbling and collapsing while the Prime Minister is playing golf after his 4th or 5th COVID infection. Not his 3rd, his 4th or 5th. Now, I note an article in yesterday's Newsday trying to sanitize your 4th or 5th COVID infection by erroneously reporting that this is your 3rd infection, comparing Rowley to world leaders like Biden and Trudeau, who has contracted COVID on 2 occasions. Well, Rowley, you are anything but a world leader. A world leader will not be playing golf while your citizens are at the hands of the bandits. A world leader will not be playing golf while there is flooding the homes of hundreds of thousands of people. A world leader you are anything but a world leader, Rowley. And the user tried to sanitize and say that comparing you to Biden and Trudeau. No, we have to speculate why Sharon Rowley have not contracted COVID-19. I could only speculate. I don't know. I can only speculate, and I can only speculate why someone who's always at your petticoat, Stuart Young, have not contracted COVID either. I can only speculate. The roads have more holes. The roads in this country have more holes than Forest indemnity with Nelson. It have more holes than that. and more bumps than the Attorney General affidavit he placed on record in the Miami courts. Right? That is the state of our roads. Now, I see my colleague here, MP Parry, a very diligent MP, reporting every day in respect of the flooding situation in Manzanilla Main Road. And I ask myself why, MP Parry is he is very particular, but he does not, get in anyone's way. And I have to ask Mr. Sinanan something. You ever hear about Pamzanilla Resort? You know that big-time resort opposite Manzanilla Beach Resort? Maybe the minister could explain how the river that runs near the property suddenly changed course. This is a matter that has to be investigated by the Drainage Division of the Ministry of Works and by the Regional Corporation, by Keith Rowley himself. Look at that. The river next to Pamzanilla Resort, now I'll tell you something, there's a resemblance to a name, Pamzanilla, who's the wife of Minister Sinanam. It's alleged that they are owners of that property. And the river, look at the yellow lines, it has been blocked. And that is the cause of flooding, we are being told, that happens and continue to happen in the Manzanilla stretch that leads between Mayaro and the main thoroughfare between Mayaro and Sandy Grande. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are many issues which I have brought to your attention this evening, and I'm sure my colleagues who are to follow will so do as well, together with our esteemed political leader. So with those few words, I say to Keith Rowley, dissolve Parliament, and please call the election now. I thank you.
People's revolution.